to welcome people. That's Belfast 22 on the YouTube channel, representing Fifth Element. That's right, the local hip-hop charity based around hip-hop music, culture, lifestyle, everything to do with it. Representing Fifth Element strong. Representing Skank FM, I go by the name of Daz. Anyway, at 1:30, we're gonna start a DJ workshop. Give a bit of information about my background, who I'm involved with, and we're gonna talk about mixing records and mixing them in a smooth manner for the YAP project, South Belfast Alternative. So yeah, hopefully some of you are locking on already. If we've got other members of the public locked on, you're welcome to join us for this DJ tutorial. Please just keep in mind that it's for a local Belfast community group. We're gonna teach these kids how to mix records. Anyway, I'm gonna have a mix myself here, just to wait till everyone gets logged on, so stay with us right now. people, you're locked on anyway. Big up, we've got some people locked on, DJ Skills and Multimedia, John Kerr, the artist himself. Good to have you locked on anyway. Like I say, this sort of session here, we're starting at 1:30. We're doing a DJ workshop for the YAP project, South Belfast Alternative. We've got a youth group logging on just to watch this video and get a few pointers on how they're going to run an event and yeah, how to mix records and stuff like that as well. So right now I'm just in the mix for let's say another 8 minutes or so before we begin. But welcome. That's right, people, welcome. DAZ up on the turntables, just mixing up some records. We're just about to get ready for a DJ workshop and tutorial to begin on behalf of Fifth Element and Skank FM. It's for the YAP project, South Belfast Alternative. We're going to be teaching basically how to use the turntables, the mixer, a bit about mixing and blending records together, a bit about running events, touching on a bit of everything really. So hang around and we'll begin this in just a couple of minutes time. So yes, welcome people once again. It's DAZ up behind the turntables, and this session we're doing something a little different. We're basically welcoming the good folk at South Belfast Alternative, the YAP project, all the youth who want to get into a bit of DJing, mixing records, and that's something that we teach at Fifth Element. So as it's locked down, unfortunately, we can't bring the group through to the Fifth Element headquarters, so we've decided to go for an online approach and basically give you a bit of information about DJing, how to mix records, the use of the equipment. We're going to talk about events and stuff like that as well, some of the key components and putting, flyers together and promotion and getting the event to run smoothly. So yeah, the group that we've got involved today, the YAP project, I hear they're into a bit of techno and sort of more the electronic sort of sound within the music genres. So yeah, we're gonna mix up some local records, some house records, some electro, some sort of stuff like that, hints of techno in it as well, from local producers. We're going to spin those records and teach you how to essentially mix with those records. So welcome to all the people, all the viewers locked on, South Belfast Alternative, cross community youth groups and stuff like that. It's great to have you involved, and thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully you learn a thing or two today. Don't forget as well, there is a comment section. So if you've got a YouTube account and you're watching this right now, you can comment. If there's any questions you want to know just about mixing records or the stuff that I'm talking about, you're more than welcome with just putting a question in there or a comment or something like that, and we'll have a live chat. So yeah, big up YAP project, South Belfast Alternative. Let's start this DJ lesson and discussion basically. Before we do though, I'm gonna basically give you a wee bit of a background just about myself. So yeah. Just had to switch up the record there for a hot minute. Anyway, like I say, I go by the name of Daz. I'm the owner of Skank FM, an online radio station, and I also work hand in hand with Fifth Element Charity. As you can see there, that's our logo in the back, and you might see that logo on Great Victoria Street where our headquarters are. right in the city centre of Belfast. So yeah, basically I've been DJing, mixing records from a young age of about 14, 15, and that progressed into playing club events and doing concerts, and yeah, just running events myself. Started a radio station, and everything just escalated, and as it got bigger and better, started to get myself involved in other fields like running events and shooting music videos and actually making records and producing beats. So the Fifth Element headquarters, we've got the Skank FM studio, we've got Moondoggies Clothing, we've got Elixir Live Hip Hop Showcase who run events, we have the Northern Souls breakdancing crew, and of course all the Fifth Element volunteers who help put stuff together. We have an art gallery as well, surrounded with kind of art and graffiti and stuff like that, representing the hip hop cultures. But we also include many different styles of music within the building, from techno and electro to drum and bass and reggae, rock. We'll have bands come through and all the rest of it. So it's a very diverse setup that we have musically, and we do great things within the community as well, just working with topics such as mental health and how can music and art help you express your issues, and how it can be an escape for your issues and stuff like that as well. But at the charity too, we also do a lot of work with people who are just into music and just love music and love everything about it. So that's why we're here today, to help you guys at the YAP project, and hopefully you can get an event running and get a couple of DJs down on a lineup and learn how to mix records and come together with some real nice sets and really just rock a crowd with it. So yeah, like I say, I started off DJing, producing, I also rap. I've released a load of music videos and a load of albums on Spotify and things like that. And we do a lot of work at the radio station and the charity. At Fifth Element, it's all about DJing, breakdance, graffiti, MCs. They're kind of the four elements of hip-hop, so that's what we use and educate people about. But yeah, today, like I say, this is kind of a workshop based around DJing, mixing records, and the use of the equipment. So as you can see, I've got like a pretty old school setup here in terms of the turntables, but I do have new pieces of technology on the turntables that I'm going to explain a bit about. But for you guys at the project, I don't know what equipment you have, but what you'll learn here today can be basically used on different types of DJing equipment. These are kind of the originals, the turntables, the Technics, and then as technology and time developed, you then got into things like CD turntables, where you just simply pop a CD in, same idea, it's gonna spin like that, and you should have full control of the CD turntable, the platter, like that when you put your hand on it. So it's the same with MIDI controllers as well. MIDI controllers, smaller platters once again, but once you put your hand on it, you should be able to alter the movement of the sound. So that's the basic concept. You've got two, one plays this side, one plays this side, and this device here, the mixer, is basically what allows you to skip either side and go to different records. So as you can see, this is what's known as crossfader, and the crossfader's over to this side, so it's playing this track. If it's over to this side, obviously it plays a different track. So these things that we've got here, all mixers are different depending on the brand and the type and the make and the build. Some have more features than others have less features, but this one here, it's a fairly decent mixer. It's a Rain 62, and with this mixer it comes with effects, and it comes with the sort of standard things you see in a mixer, like volume controls. You've got high, mids, lows, sort of volume adjustments there, and then you've got these parts where you can add effects. So basically, yeah, this very top one here is your level, and it basically heightens the level of the music, as you can hear. So I turn it down just when I'm talking, but really when I'm in the mix, I'm sitting at about halfway, because The reason I'm sitting halfway is I don't want the music to distort, and you can tell the music might distort with this volume dial. So the volume dial will basically be like a light indicator where you'll have green, yellow, red. If you're going into the red, that's when you're really pushing the music quite loud. So be wary of that on your master or your mix, which is the main sort of place where it shows you what's going out of the mixer into the sound system. You want to keep those roughly into the sort of yellows. You don't really want to push things into the red. So when I'm in the mix, basically I use my level and try set it to a nice level where the music's clear, but on top of that I'm not distorting it. So you want to take that into consideration. It's kind of like your main volume for whatever record is playing on either side, and you've got that on both sides of the mixer. Then you've got other sort of tones here that you can use to alter the sound of the actual record. You've got highs, you've got mids, and you've got lows, and they're just the different frequencies within the actual track. So if I turn this up and I'll take down the high first, you'll notice how the music slightly changes, and these can be used whenever you're mixing records to make your mix sound a lot more smoother and to get the music to blend in a lot more nicer. So I'll just do a demonstration of the different ones I'm going to turn down, and you'll hear the music change basically. So there you can clearly hear the changes in the frequencies of the music. So normally I use the low or the bass tones in the music whenever I'm mixing records in and out of each other. The bass is quite punchy with that kick. So whenever I lower that down, you can hear I'm taking it down. So whenever I'm mixing a record in, I normally take the bass down a little bit and mix the record in. And as the record's coming in, I slowly take up the bass to the sweet point on that record while taking the bass down on the other record. So that makes it a smooth blend and a smooth mix. There's the bass back in. So that's what the track should sound like. Basically you should have your lows, your mids, your highs all sitting at about halfway in the sweet spot. Make sure your level is sitting about halfway and you're not pushing the record and you're not really blasting out the sound into the reds, and you'll be able to see that with the indication there on the mixer, the lighting indication, and you'll see that on your master output as well. So like I say, you've got your crossfader that decides what turntable you're going to go to and play on. You've got your lows, mids, highs, your level. This is also used as a level, and a lot of DJs do use this, although with my style of mixing I don't use it too much. But basically you can set how much the record comes down and how fast it comes down by using different settings on your mixer. But really that's just kind of like another one of these. It's just more accessible if you're really quick with your hands. So another thing I'm going to show you now is just some of the effects that we have on this mixer, and again how we can alter the sounds of these records. And you'll notice all these things I'm telling you, I'm gonna actually do it in a mix, and you'll hear the effects and you'll hear the bass tones come down and stuff like that. So let's bring that record back and we'll do some effects for you, and I'll show you how to set them on this mixer. It will be different on different mixers, but basically you'll have a button to select what channel you want to put the effect on, which is this button. You'll have what effect you want to put on the actual record, and then you'll activate the effect. So I've selected I want the effect on this channel. I want to then select a filter, which is a weird kind of sound, and then I'm going to activate that sound, and this is how much of the sound that I want to put in. There's kind of like a dial. So do I want that effect to be loads or a little bit or very, very little? But anyway, here we go. You'll hear some of the effects. So like I say, this first effect is a filter, and a lot of house and techno DJs and stuff really do like to use filters in their mixes and in their production as well. So just listen. Right now we have got the effect selected, we've got the filter effect on, the effect is activated, and I'm going to add it in. And that's the effect off. So on your mixer you should have a range of effects, and you should be able just to, and the best way to learn them and learn how to use them is really just to work away with them and press different sounds and see sort of how it manipulates the sound. But like I say, these effects can be used in your mix and will just heighten a lot of things and sort of polish them off. So next one is a flanger effect. Next one is called a phaser effect. I like that one myself. And there's an effect here which is echo. Obviously that's just taking the track and making an echo effect on the track. To use the echo effect, it's best that you make sure that the effect is lined up with the speed of your music. So to do that, you'll normally have a tap button for that effect. So if I tap in time with the music on the tap button, it's going to read me a speed of the record, and once that effect is now matching essentially the speed of the record, it means the effect will work with the record in the right timing. So that's mainly sort of used with the echo effect. So I'll give you a demonstration, and I use the echo effect quite a lot, especially in my scratch style of mixing and hip hop style of mixing. Echoes can be used really nicely in techno music as well, and house and stuff like that. And again, you'll see more of this when I actually mix the records in a bit. So what happens here is, like I say, I've tapped to the timing of the music, which means I'm making the effect recognize the speed that that's moving at, and therefore the effect should work nicely in sync with it. If you haven't really sort of matched up the BPM of the actual record, your effect will sound slightly off. So that's why it's kind of cool just to get everything on time, and again, it just makes your mixes and the use of effects more smoother, and makes it more pleasurable for an audience or a listener. So tapping in the BPM, and it's got the speed. So I'm going to activate the effect on this channel. I want the echo effect, which I've activated, and then I'm going to actually activate the effect so I can use it with that on button. And this is how much of the effect I want to come in. So you'll hear the echo come in whenever I alter that. And as you see, I took the sound out, but the echo keeps going. So yeah, I really like the echo effect. There's a few other effects that just kind of alters the sound once again. Reverb makes it sound like it's in a big hall. So that's kind of use of effects on your mixer. So far we've kind of been through the crossfader. That plays that side, that plays that side. When they're in the middle, it plays both, and that's essentially the mix. But yes, you've got your volume dials here for each channel. You've got a low, which alters the sound of the low end of the record. On both sides, basically, you've got these dials, so you can affect the mids as well, the highs, and the top two are really just volumes for your records. As well as that, you can add, there's a lot more stuff here. This is for like looping up the record. So if I want the record to play to a certain point and then loop back to the start, that's what a loop is, and it just goes like that. So I can set those loops. And again, all this stuff I'm doing is working along with the software. We'll get into that in a second. So I'll show you a quick loop anyway. And you normally want to set a loop like as the beat hits, so it rolls smooth and comes back to that hit. You can make your loops last longer depending on the time period, so like 4 bars or 8 bars or 16 bars. Obviously 4 being quite short. So I'll give you a demonstration. So I'm going to try catch this right on the beat. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it looping now. And then I can take it off the loop. And that's the record just continuing on. So loops are really handy if, say, you've only got a short amount of record to mix, but you want to make that last a bit longer. You can just loop it and mix over that loop. And then basically whenever the time for the next record to come in, you just kind of release that loop and let it play out. So loops are a really cool wee thing to use. As well as that, you've got cue points on the mixer. So you can basically hit like at the start of a record, or like where the beat is, or wherever you want that record to be. Like you can put a marker, so that marker, when you hit that marker, it'll bring you back to that track. Again, I normally set markers for the start of my track, so I can mix away and stuff like that and listen to the mix and see if it's lined up. And then once I know it's lined up on the headphones, I'm like, right, bring it back to the start. Now I'm actually going to do the mix. So again, that's where the headphones are used. The headphones are really there for while that record's playing, you listen to this record and see if you can match the tempo or the speed. And this is the most key thing in mixing records. It's all about getting that record to the same speed and the same tempo. That's how you're going to get a smooth mix. And by doing that, use the headphones. So I'll give you an example of 2 records. They're going to be different speeds. I'm going to drop them both together, and you'll hear they won't fit because they're at different speeds. And then, like I say, this is the most important bit. Basically, I'm going to take the record, alter the speed to match the speed of that record, and then you're going to hear the difference in how they come together because they're sitting at the right speed and the right tempo. So I'll give you a quick demonstration. Like I say, we have we've got some stuff here, local music from local house and techno producers and stuff like that. So we've got a record that is 122 beats per minute, and we've got a record that is 123 beats per minute. So this record here is from local producers in Belfast and sick DJs as well, called Schmutz, and it's called Spides. So as you can see, that record is playing at 122 beats per minute. Again, if I tap there to use my effects, it's going to recognize 122 beats per minute, and the effect is going to work with the speed of the record. This is key, this part of the turntable, and this will be there on your MIDI controllers, it'll be there on your CD turntables, and it's here on the old school vinyl turntables as well. This is called pitch control, and pitch control is basically what's going to get your record to the speed you want it at, whether you need to slow that record down or speed it up. So if I want to speed it up, I'll go and take the pitch, and as you can hear, it's getting faster, or I can slow it down. As you can hear, it's getting slower. So you've got a sweet point, which is 0. So 0 is basically you playing the record at the speed it was made. The record, was produced at a certain speed, and 0 represents the true speed of the record. Then you can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, normally to about 8. Some mixers allow you to use pitch control up to 16, so you can go 16 either way, minus 16 or plus 16, plus being the speed and going faster, and minus obviously going slower. So like I say, this record is 122 BPM. I can actually see that on my music software because the software is reading the speed of the record, and it reads it at a point basically, so you'll get 0.1, 0.2, so it'll be 122.1 or 0.2 or 0.3. And that's how fine the software can read the BPM. But as well as that, you want to match the speed of that record on the other side, and again you'll be able to see that. You're blessed nowadays with music technology and software, because not only does it show you the speed, it shows you a waveform. So the waveform is the actual music itself, and there's different colors within the waveform. Some of the colors represent like claps or snares in the record. Other colors represent more bass and kick tones. So visually, you've got a bit of aid, which is great on software nowadays. Whereas back in the day, when DJs just had a vinyl turntable, they didn't really like have the visual aspect to help them mix. It was simply by ear and learning. And that's something you can't really teach a person. It's like, it's down to them, their rhythm, their listening, and you can work on it and you can improve, and you do. But I would recommend, like, if you're starting off DJing, try do it by ear. It'll make you a better DJ. Yes, the visuals will help you, and yes, you can look at them and glance at them, and I still do. But if you can mix by ear, it'll make you a lot tighter as a DJ, rather than relying on the visual aspect of it. So let's take these two records. Let's play this one at its original speed. Then I'm going to take this record and I'm going to match the speed, and I'm going to blend it in. And then I'm going to show you basically, if it's off speed, how it doesn't sound as smooth. So right now this record is a little too fast, so I'm going to use the pitch to basically slow the record down to match the same speed as this record. Basically now I've lined up the speed of that record to match the speed of that record, and by listening in my headphones just to this side, I'm gonna line up the music now. So when you're lining up the music and you're trying to get it on time, again, it's about your hand control on the turntable and your rhythm to do so. So you want to drop it in time with this music. So it's basically just about having that bounce and getting that rhythm with the record and dropping that one on time. And you normally want to do it with the first beat in the bar. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to drop that record on the one, basically. So now I've got this perfectly lined up in my headphones, and I'm going to bring this record into the mix by using the crossfader. And then I'm going to work on the bass tones as well, just to make it extra smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill the bass tone on this record. I don't want it to be fully in yet while I'm mixing the record in, but when this record is fully in the mix, I'm going to add the bass tone. So I've just taken the bass tone down, and I'm going to bring this into the mix. You might not notice it, but this these two records are playing together, and it's going quite smooth because I've lined up the exact same BPMs. That they're playing at the same speed. That was dropped perfectly on time with that record, and now we've got quite a smooth mix going. So now I want to take this record out and bring this one in. So I'm going to bring up the bass tone on this side, and I'm going to take down the bass tone on this side. Now I'm slowly going to take down the volume here with the level at the top, and I'm going to let this one play on. So that's it fully into the next side basically. As you can see, the crossfader is all the way over, just playing that side, no longer in the middle. All my volumes are sitting halfway here with the low, the mids, the high and the top. The low on that side has been fully taken down as we've blended the record as well, and so is the volume. I've basically just taken down the volume really slowly, just to kind of let the record blend really smoothly. So it's about taking your time, and you can take your time whenever you know you've got those records at the exact same speed and they're playing in sync together. That's what's going to make your mix a lot smoother. I'll give you an example of the records mixing together here when they're completely off speed, and you'll kind of hear the records conflicting with each other and it just won't sound smooth at all. So that's why it's so important to use your pitch control. If you've got the visual aspect and you need that to help you, look at the speeds on your DJ software, and yeah, basically just try to get those speeds of those records lined up and matched up as tight as you can, and that's what's going to make your mixes smooth. But let me give you a demonstration of the records mixing at a totally different speed. So that one is now sitting at 122.4 BPM. I'm going to speed this one up to say 126, and you'll see how off it is. So you can kind of hear what's known as double beat, like double beaten, or it's like, oh, he's double beaten. That's what they'll say. That's when the DJ hasn't got the records mixed properly and lined up. They're playing at different speeds. So you can hear how these two records are conflicting each other right now because they're not playing at the correct speed. And that's why it's so important to use your pitch control to get those speeds correct. That's what's going to give you a smooth mix. Listen to the steal of it. So let me give you a demonstration again of me just lining up the beats per minute and lining up the speeds of the records together and how much smoother it's going to sound. So I'm gonna wait for this record to drop in. I've altered the speed using the pitch control, and I'm gonna drop this record on time, and you'll hear how smooth it is. That's it dropped in at the same time, perfectly on time, perfect speed as well, same speeds, which is great. And again, I'm gonna bring the bass tone up on this and take the bass tone down on that, and then I'm gonna take the volume down on that record. And then after that, we're gonna do the mix again, and I'm gonna show you how to use the effects as well in the mix. So that's the bass tone up on that side and the bass tone down on that side. You heard this sort of blend there. I'll do it again. So again, just taking that record and basically taking the volume down, taking the bass tone down, sort of mixing out of that record and adding the volume into this side. So now I'm going to do the mix with some effects. So I'm going to use my BPM, and I'm going to tap the BPM to get the right BPM. I'm going to use a filter or a phaser effect, which will just alter the sound of the record coming in. And then I'm going to use an echo effect as well on the track going out. Both records in the mix, I've tapped to get the speed of the records to use the effect correctly. I'm going to select I want the effect on this side, and I'm going to use a filter or a phaser effect, and you'll see the sort of sound that it makes. So that weird noise in the background is basically the phaser effect that I put on. And that's on the record that's coming into the mix. So I'm going to leave this effect on. And then I'm going to switch it up really quickly into an echo effect that's going to echo this record out and bring this one in. I actually screwed that mix up because I was too busy talking, so we'll start again. yeah, basically just a quick demonstration on using the echo here. We're going to do it again quickly because, like I say, I messed up that mix. But yeah, let's get into it again. You'll see how I'm going to use the echo effect to come out of the track nice and smoothly. So this is me slowly bringing in the echo on this record I'm mixing out. So hopefully you can see there how I've used effects again just to add into the mix to make it more dynamic. With the echo effect there, I was basically echoing the track while also taking the volume down. So again, just giving it sort of a smooth blend and adding more diverseness to the mix. But yes, I'm going to show you a bit more on the echo here as well on this side now, and you'll see the difference that it makes and how you can use it basically, especially in parts of the record like this where there's a wee breakdown just before the beat kicks in. So we'll bring it back to that breakdown and use the echo effect before the beat kicks in. There's the breakdown now. So as you can see, just before the beat kicked in, I fully released the echo once again. So again, that's how effects can be used to heighten and change different styles of the music. So basically, your turntables, most important part is the speed. The speed will basically line up the records. You'll be able to look at your music software and get an indication of the speed. And again, the speed is essential whenever you need to tap in the speed of those records to use your effects correctly. All these dials are basically volume controls within the mixer. Your low, your mids, your highs, they're just used to manipulate the sound of the record, and they should be used whenever you're mixing the record just to make things sound a bit smoother. There's nothing worse than a record coming in at full volume because it'll be really noticeable. Whereas if you can play it at a bit of a lower volume and slowly creep it up to that peak where it's in the mix. Same with this side, it's like you want to be able to take it from its volume playing, its max volume, and you want to be able to blend it out and take things down on it. So it's all about like making that cross between the two records smooth by using the volumes, by using effects. So another thing as well that you can do, and some techno, some house, some dance DJs, more so in the old school used to do it, is scratching. But scratching is really like a hip hop thing. You can do simple sort of scratches like that. And again, that kind of movement will help you whenever you're going to drop the beat. I'll give you a kind of a definition of it, and it's all about dropping that beat perfectly in time with that beat. And in music, you count in fours. So 4 is basically 1 bar. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just 4 bars. 4 counts gets you the 1 bar. So you want to count with your music basically, and find your first beat. And that's when you want to drop the first beat of that record is on that first beat every time on the 1. So I'll show you again. Normally you kind of basically do that on your first beat. Let's see. But you'll have it in your headphones where you can hear it, so you make sure you're dropping it on time. And then that's when you put your crossfader in. But for this purpose of you hearing, I'm going to leave the crossfader in the middle. So as you can see, I was basically going along with the music, finding the rhythm, counting the beats there in my head, and basically rubbing that record back and forth, getting that record ready to drop on the first hit, the first beat of the bar basically. I'll do it again. So as you can see, it's all about timing there basically, and how you kind of follow the rhythm of that record to basically drop that one perfectly on time. You might have seen me using my fingers as well around the side of the turntable. That's me speeding things up or slowing things down. It's just a quick way of doing it. And say that record starts to go off, what I'll normally do is touch the side of the turntable to slow it down, while also using the pitch basically to get it to the right speed. So this record here on the right is basically a bit too slow, so I'm going to use my hand to speed it up while also speeding up the pitch that side. As you see, I basically was speeding it up with my finger while adjusting the pitch there. So I actually purposely went and speeded it up a bit much just to show you again. So this one is now faster. I want to slow it down. So it's just about using your finger lightly on the side of the turntable to slow it down again while just adjusting the pitch. So there you are, both records perfectly on speed. So I'll mix this one in and mix this one out. So again, it's just about taking the volumes and stuff like this down. I'll put an effect on this side just to add a bit more to the mix and just slowly bring the volume down to make the mix quite smooth. So there you are once again, just using the low there, taking that down on the record that I was mixing out. using the phaser effect with that weird kind of up and down noise, and then using the echo and echoing the record while bringing the volume down at the same time, just to make that blend extra smooth. So right now I'm going to mix up a couple of records for you, just kind of consciously take in some of the things I'm doing, some of the buttons I'm pushing, how I'm altering speeds of records and such like that, how I'm looking back at the software to make sure my speeds are correct, and how I'm using the effects and how I'm using the mixer basically. So yeah, we'll mix up a couple of records for you and then we'll have a chat just before we leave. So I've matched up the speed of this record using the pitch. I've taken down the low on this record that I'm going to bring in. By the time this record is fully in, I'll be bringing that low up to halfway, making sure the volume is good. And I'll be taking down the low on the record that I'm mixing out. I'm probably using effect on the record that I'm mixing out as well, just to make that mix sound a bit more better. Also gonna take the highs down on the record that I'm mixing in, just because the claps are quite prominent in the record, so I'm just gonna lower those down a bit. So as you can see, crossfaders in the middle, both records are playing, but you can barely hear this one because I haven't really used the volumes fully yet. So that mix was smooth enough there, basically getting the pitches and the speed correct. Bringing this one in at a quieter volume with less lows, less mids, less highs, and then slowly bringing those into play while taking the other side out. That's how you're going to get the smooth blend. Just watch again as I mix more records. So yeah, first things first, listen in the headphones this side, make sure the speed is correct. Now I've got the speed matched up using the pitch control. I'm going to find the first beat on this record, line it up with the first beat on that record, drop it at the same time. Hopefully they run together perfectly in sync, and when I know they are in the headphones by listening, I'm going to hit the crossfader across and mix the record into the next one. And I'm also going to take down the bass, the low, and some of the mids on this one in the volume. So you heard me drop that record, they're both moving in sync now, and I'm going to add the volume in this record and lower the other one. So there you have it, just again using the lows, using the mids, you know, bringing them in on the record that you're gonna bring into the mix, taking them out on the record you want to go out of the mix, and also adding a few effects there on the record that was coming out of the mix just to make it kind of blend out in a more trippier kind of way. But yeah, let's see, we've got time for a few more records in the mix, and then we're going to talk just a little bit about some events and how to get an event together and stuff. So yeah, hopefully you've learned a few things there, a bit about the turntable, the pitch control, how to put your hand on the turntable, get your first beat, the use of, you know, using your visuals to help you out, looking at the speeds there as well, all about timing, counting with the beat as well, finding your first beat. Like I say, it's in fours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's just about finding that first beat that you can drop that record in the mix with, using your crossfader to blend the two records together, using your different tone buttons here, basically to alter the sound of the record, as you can hear there in the background. And yeah, making sure as well that you're not going into the reds on your master output and on each channel. You don't want to be distorting the sound or pushing it too hard. Using the tap button to find your beats per minute, making sure that your effects are going to work in sync with your beat whenever you activate those effects. And like I say, just showed you just that simple kind of scratch movement, finding that beat. That's the first beat. scratching as well. Like in the style of music that I'm into with hip hop and stuff, scratching just gets far more diverse with more movements with the hand, different movements with the hand, and also the use of the crossfader to alter the sounds and the movements with your hand. So I'll give you a quick demonstration of just a couple of scratches over a hip hop beat. And yeah, scratches again, it like mini scratches and stuff like that when dropping into techno and house and electro and stuff like that. It is used, and I've watched a lot of DJs really use it well. I'll show you quickly now with this record. Yeah, so just a quick demonstration there of how you can use your hand to, you know, make those rub sounds, but also use the crossfader to chop those sounds up. Like I'll give you just kind of listen to the scratch, and you'll see it'll be one movement that way, but three movements in the one rub. So basically take that one sound, which might be it'll go because I'll be hitting the fader. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration of that. So as you can see there, I'm basically going forward and bringing it back while chopping out a good load of times on the actual fader. So just wee things like that you can add into your mix, and that'll make mixing and yeah, putting records together a lot more fun as well. So like I say, scratchless or scratching is actually like an endless thing. There's DJs still to this day developing new scratches, and it's all to do with kind of patterns, the way you rub the record with your hand and the way you use your fader to chop up those sounds essentially. So scratching's a whole nother thing altogether, and there's some amazing scratch DJs out there you can go and watch on YouTube and stuff like that. But yes, just before we go here, we're going to talk a little bit about events and some of the key things that you need to really be doing in your events to make them happen and to make them run smoothly, and just a couple of key components to really think about whenever you're running your event for this YAP project. Obviously, we'll give you a lesson there in DJing, how to hopefully mix records a bit better. Hopefully you got a few tips and a few points of how you can make these records come together a lot smoother for you, especially in that style of music with the house and techno and electro and stuff like that. But yes, your event is basically going to have DJs, and to put those DJs on, you're going to need a sound system, you're going to need the equipment. So it's about thinking of the essential things you need to run your event. And we do this at Fifth Element headquarters every month, before lockdown obviously, when we were running our events. But we basically had certain people handle different sections of the event. So we had a guy who would organize the sound system and the mixing desk and the mics and the turntables and make sure that all the artists had what they needed to perform. As well as that, we had then a section who organized like logos and designs and graphics and stuff for the event, and that logo could be plastered on the walls around the event, basically as a use of branding. But then the logo can also be used in your promotion and your flyers and things like that. So you'll need a flyer as well. Again, the graphics team normally kind of deal with that, creating the logo, creating the flyer. And your flyer is really what's going to sell the event. It's what you can use across social media, send out text messages, emails. If you want to take it further, contact local newspapers, let them know about your event and stuff like that. You could have a bit of a write-up, a bit of a press release saying, this is who's involved, this is where it's at, this is what's going on. And that's what the flyer should really state as well: who's playing, what time, where's it at, is there an admission fee. Get those essential key pieces of information on your flyer and get a decent logo to run that event. And then as well as that, it's also just about having people to make sure, that the event runs smoothly on the day, like volunteers and people on the door, staff basically to see to everyone's needs that's performing, and see to the people attending the event as well. So there's all sorts of key things you need to consider there, basically, from the equipment to the people involved, to promoting the event, to having that sort of graphic design if you're going to do that, and just ensuring that you've got all your kind of things covered to run the event smoothly as well. So let's see, there's another really good way of capturing people for your events, especially with social media nowadays, is the use of video. It's always great to capture video footage and photography of the event itself, but if you can make videos and have sick images and good looking things to promote the event prior to it happening, it's about capturing that audience. So video is a great way, whether it's a video of one of your DJs mixing, and you can use that video to say, yo, come check this DJ out, he's playing at this event, and so on. So video is a great way to promote things further. But yes, I just want to, before we wrap up here, just say thank you to the YAP project and South Belfast Alternative. Hopefully the guys that have tuned in and the guys that are going to watch the video back learn a thing or two about mixing. Hopefully we can have you down to the Fifth Element headquarters on Great Victoria Street, which is just near Shaftesbury Square there. We can have you down very soon to learn more about DJing and get your hands on turntables and mixers and stuff like that. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Fifth Element NI, Fifth Element Charity on Instagram, and hook up the website, fithelement.org. And yeah, basically get involved where we do things like this, teach people how to DJ, but we also have a full recording studio where we teach people how to rap and sing and how to record vocals in a class situation, like with all the studio equipment in the booth and things like that. We do radio shows on Skank FM, so tune into those, skankfm.com. We've got breakdancers down there, the Northern Souls crew. They're doing cypher sessions and things like that. They're doing breakdancing classes, and there's plenty to get involved in. We've got the graffiti artists who have created an amazing art gallery for us on the bottom floor, and who also teach a lot of people how to graph and come up with their own logos and designs and how to get those down up on big canvases and things like that. And as well as that, we've got MCs, DJs, music producers passing through, like I say, all the artists, the break dancers. It's an amazing building, Fifth Element. So hopefully we can have you guys down very soon when this lockdown gets lifted and you can get involved. And be sure to come to our events as well and get involved in the day. They're great, with so many musical performances and dance acts and all the artwork all over the place and stuff like that. So yes, YAP Group, thank you very much. South Belfast Alternative, thank you very much. I hope your project goes well. I hope you guys learn how to mix. And it's been a pleasure teaching you just a couple of things here today. But don't forget, the internet can really be used as a tool to go and help you further. There's so many DJs just like me putting up videos and stuff like that. So if that's something you're into, look into it, learn, watch DJ sets, watch how they're using the mixer, watch how they're altering the sound with effects and things like that, how they're using their crossfader or the scratching. And really, like I say, if there's one thing I can teach you today, it's essential to get the records at the right speed to have that smooth mix. If you want to make it even smoother, start using all the sort of dials here that alter the sound. And again, you want to take it further, look into using your effects and look into adding scratches and things like that too. So yes, from myself, Daz, representing Fifth Element Charity and Skank FM, thank you very much. And hopefully catch you soon. Peace out. Thanks.